Yes.
And just because this judge has shut up, you continue. Because with number one, he said he's firing you.
Yes.
And then now you make submissions on his behalf. What must I make of those submissions? And you tell me, no, you know, we're defending these guys as a group, as a team. And number one said, I no longer want Ramosepele to represent me. What must I do?
My Lord, let me leave it in the hands of the court because I've already started the
process. Fine. I'm just saying, I'm making you aware.
I understand that my Lord raised this point on Friday when Mr. Ngomezulu said he's going to make submissions on behalf of accused number 2.
And it was different with Ngomezulu because Mr. Ngomezulu says he withdrew because he was not paid. Is that the reason, sir?
That's correct.
That's it. The reason is you're fired.
I'm unfireable, my Lord.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, okay, continue, sir.
With respect, my Lord, to those photos, Exhibit GG1, photos number 1 to 7, that was the pointing out taken by Sergeant Mapakela, and 26 to 31.
Yeah, it's 1 to 7. 7 and
26 to 31, my Lord.
26 to 31, yeah, right.
The post pointing out. And
that's it, yeah.
we were informed that, my Lord, the purpose thereof was to show in future, should allegations that there were assaults, the photos were taken for the purposes of showing that there were no assaults, my Lord. My Lord, with all due respect, those photos I submit are of poor quality for the purposes for which they were taken. They are too grainy, too far. There are no close-ups of the body to show whether there were any bruises, whether there were any cuts, my Lord, and with the dark-skinned as well, color of accused number 1, it makes it difficult without close-ups, my Lord, to see any bruises thereon.
Is that the same sentiment carried by Mr. Baloyi? That these photographs are useless?
It was never the photographer, Sergeant Mapakela testified, it was never put to him.
I see, okay.
Now, my Lord, the other point that was raised by my learned colleague was accused number 1 on the pro forma made certain corrections to say that, to show that perhaps he was not swayed or to show that the officer was...
on the pro forma or on the statement itself also?
I think Advocate Baloyi, if I should not misquote him, he referred to paragraph 13 as well, but also on the pro forma. Now, my Lord, in my examination of Colonel Mboto, I asked him whether he familiarized or asked accused number 1 of his highest standard at school, and he says he told me that he did lower levels. I don't want to embarrass him, so he practically does not have serious formal education. Now, my submission in this regard is that how can somebody of that low level of education make corrections on a semi-statutory form that is written in legalese, not in English?
Are you saying it's impossible?
It is, my Lord.
I know we had a president who only has Senate 4.
That's a good example. He's got reports with other president, dignitaries. You learn on the job. He learned on the job his English as well.
And he ran this country for 2 terms. And then he was also an MP, Minister, MEC for Economic Affairs in KwaZulu-Natal, etc., etc. I can quote 2, 3 other guys in the cabinet who are just like that.
I'm not casting any aspersions to my
even
client.
with me, I'm not. I'm just saying this notion of saying if you haven't gone to recite A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then you're not educated.
No. There's a difference between education and cleverness and smartness. There is.
All right. What do they call it? The guys who want to bring about the the Africanization. They don't call it that. The Africanization of knowledge and education.
Yes.
What do they call themselves? The gentlemen and the ladies?
We even discussed it some while here in this court. Yes, the term is just escaping me, man. The indigenization of
Yeah, indigenization
Yes.
of knowledge.
Yes.
I don't know how you-
Especially in relation to that Cape, Western Cape Court, my lord, where the forensic terms were difficult even for the interpreter himself.
Yes.
So
Okay.
that is my submission regarding
So
that.
your submission is that this gentleman, your client, accused number one, who's,
He was instructed to just make initials next
So you're saying
to the marks.
he can't write, he can't read.
No, my lord.
What are you saying?
He can write a bit of isiZulu. He understands isiZulu, my lord. Yes, those he can write. I cannot say
Okay,
with
fine.
English that
And
he
he can
write.
sign?
He can,
He can
sign.
initial?
Yes, he can initial.
And he understands the consequence of signing a document.
In
doesn't
this
understand.
instance, my lord, if you are arrested, the police they say sign here.
He doesn't understand the
He
consequences.
doesn't understand the consequences.
Okay,
you are
fine.
just being informed to sign next to the mark that is made.
Okay. The other day I remarked about accused number two that on record he says in Pukeng he normally goes there because he normally
He
goes
certifies.
for the certification of documents.
Yes,
That's high-flown English.
yes.
Oxford.
That's basic, my lord. Who doesn't know
Basic.
what certification is? And he even said, he didn't say certify, he said, we certify documents. Who certifies documents?
Certification. I've got it. I can show it to you now.
That we heard him differently then.
Just get me that. It's not important. Get me that. It's there. Certification of documents.
Yes.
And I told him that the
Yeah,
English
you-
he's speaking,
Yes.
even a judge like me can't speak.
Wow.
Speak it.
My lord, it's better.
Maybe Mr. Mnisi can speak it. I can't. You got it?
Just keep checking.
Okay, fine. Let's go on, Mr. Ramosepele.
Now, my lord, I think I have dealt with the issues that pertain to accused number one. Perhaps if I approach him to, and
Yeah,
then
fine,
I'll
fine.
move on to accused number two.
You got it?
Yes, you got it.
Now show it first to Mr. Ramosepele. You'll think you're in cahoots with me. Do you see it?
Yes, it's the record of the 13th of February 2024 at line
What does it say?
at line 16, accused number 2. That is a lie, my lord, because I know Phuking police station, my lord. That is where I normally go and certify documents whenever I need to certify my ID copies, and it goes on and on.
Thank you, sir. So, any other thing you want to pursue with it?
No, with respect to number 1,
Okay.
we are done, my lord. Now we are going to accused number 2.
Ah,
And with respect to that, my lord, it is common cause that accused number 1, number 2 was arrested in phase 2 Rustenburg by Sergeants Mabena and Mohani at his place of residence that is rented in Rustenburg. At the time of his arrest, he was in the company of the girlfriend, and according to Mabena, the arrest happened because accused number 1 was being sought on the Nongoma case 163 of 10, 2018. Of importance there, my lord, is this propensity and the pattern of assault starts even right there at Phokeng when accused number 1 says to both police officers, you've asked my name, I've given you my names and my ID, you've taken my phones. Who are you? Introduce yourself, identify yourselves. Then he states that Sergeant Mabena hits him with an open hand across the face, my lord, telling him that don't be smart, something to that effect, my lord. And from there, I submit, my lord, the marker, the line on the sand with respect to the treatment of accused number 2 is set, my lord. And he is then transported from Rustenburg to Pretoria North SAPS on the 16th of June. He arrives there shortly after 10 p.m. as can be shown in Exhibit MM, which is an OB entry in Pretoria North.
Sorry, just before I forget this, why do you say a marker is set? Was Mabena perhaps not on a frolic of his own? But now you're saying after
with
the
him,
slapping
Mabena,
of the alleged slapping of number 2, then, as you say, a line is drawn on the sand that he's going to be treated with assaults.
especially pertaining to Mabena, because he's central to all the assaults that were
but he died
perpetrated.
thereafter.
Sorry, my lord.
He died.
He died when?
You don't know he's dead.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
So did he die after the 16th? Then he perpetrated
after
no
the
further
assault.
assaults.
After
No,
the
he didn't.
assault.
Now, the events of the 17th of June, my lord, with respect to the assault and coercion, there's nothing of importance that took place there except that,
Was anybody assaulted on the 17th?
yes, that's why I say with respect to that, it's got no consequence regarding the assault.
So there was no assault on the 17th?
On the 17th, there was just interviews and allegations regarding gold teeth,
Okay.
dreadlocks, tattoos and the like, but nothing of any assault took place, my lord. Then on the 18th of June, accused is booked and taken to Carltonville at Sibanye Stillwater gold mine, where he was employed previously in 2014, 15, 16, around that period, my lord. And then he's transported by Mohane and Mabena.
Yes.
They do the preliminary inquiries at the HR section at shaft number 8, and they get given the clocking records and history of accused number 2. At a certain stage, Gininda arrives in the company of Mohola. The discussion is held amongst themselves. They all go in and at some stage to the hospital section to see whether accused number 1 had reported injuries in and around the 26th of October 2014. Certain documentation, whether medical or otherwise, were handed to them that we've never had sight of, we are not privy to. Then Gininda, after that, goes to the car that accused number 1 is kept in, which is the Toyota Fortuner driven by Mabena that has been testified to in this court, and starts interrogating or questioning accused number 2 about his possible involvement in the Senzo Meyiwa murder case. According to his testimony and by all accounts, accused number 1 is steadfast that he doesn't know anything about it. He's even confronted by evidence that emanates from the main case, the ID kit. He says this is mistaken identity. Then, seeing that he's hitting his head against the rock, Brigadier Gininda stopped questioning accused number 2. As he's leaving that motor vehicle, he says one of the officers that he was with, that is never identified in this court, calls him to say, accused number 2 wants to speak to you. Then he goes back to the car, warns him of his constitutional rights, and say, let me hear what you are saying. Why did you call me? Accused number 2 says, the lies don't work for me. I want to tell the truth, which is vehemently disputed by accused number 1. I mean, accused number 2, sorry, my lord. Now, my Lord, we say that assertion by Gininda that having tried by all means to elicit some sort of admissions from accused number 2 and having failed, what are the probabilities, my Lord, that accused number 2, he has successfully rebuffed any allegations to link him to this horrific incident? Now he says, tell him to come back. Lies don't work for me. I want to tell the truth. We submit, my Lord, the probabilities do not favor him. On
Yeah,
that
I
aspect.
hear you, but that's disputed evidence.
Yes.
Ginenda doesn't
Yes.
entertain that version.
And further, my Lord, I mean, we've seen, understand the memory of Gininda to show that this assertion does not have any substance. He was with at least 3 officers, Mabena, Mohane, Mohola, but he does not recall of the 3 who called him to say, accused number 2 wants to speak to you. Now, accused number 2, as we say, my Lord, vehemently denied that he made any admissions or any statements that may be construed as confessions to Gininda, and he denies that he called Gininda to come back and he talked to him. But Gininda says after talking to accused number 2, he then tells him not to proceed further. He will arrange for him to meet an independent person to take the statement from him. Accused number 2 agrees, and Gininda and Mohola then leaves the mine complex in Sibanye gold mine. Now, crucially, my Lord, according to the AVL report testified to by Mr. Dupree, he testified that the Toyota Fortuner that accused number 2 was transported in was at the mine complex for a period of 7 hours. That period, my Lord, it's crucial when we come to what we term the torture of accused number 2, which I will come to towards the latter part of my submission, because, my Lord, accused number 1 was asked whether when they booked him in the morning, in the morning of the 18th of June 2020, he had anything to eat, breakfast. He said he never did. And there's no evidence before this court that in that 7 hours at the mine complex, accused number 2 was given food, drink, or water. And furthermore, my Lord...
Yeah, but the critical question is,
yes,
did all those guys, Mohola, Moholela, even Mabena, if he was there, did they eat themselves? They themselves, did they eat? On the probabilities, as you argue.
My Lord, the point is this. My point is this. According to the act that governs the prison guards, there are certain periods where the accused must be.
They are in the field, Mr.
Yes.
Ramosepele.
Yes.
They are in Carltonville.
Yes.
Now, I'm posing a rhetoric question to you.
Yes.
On the probabilities, as you are arguing the contrary,
Yes.
did Mabena, Mohona, and Moholela eat for 7 hours, or they didn't? They didn't even drink
No
water.
evidence
did
was
they?
led, so, my Lord,
Hello?
I'll be misleading the court if I
Yeah.
give an answer either way. No evidence was led in this court, my Lord. I can't venture into speculation.
Okay.
Now, my Lord, I was at the point where now Brigadier Gininda, Sergeant Mohola have left the mine complex. Later on, similarly, Mohane and Mabena, they live in the company of accused number 2. Let me pause it here, my Lord. Also on this aspect of the 7 hours at the mine, accused number 2 has testified that bar for the period where he had to go through turnstiles, the entry gates that rotate, his handcuffs were taken temporarily, but other than that, he was in handcuffs throughout this period, and also those handcuffs similarly were tightly squeezed around his wrist, my Lord. Now I take it on, my Lord. Mohane Mabena live in the company of accused number 2, and he testified, Mohane, that they then went to the Alberton area because they had other further investigations to conduct, but they had decided to take accused number 2 with because he was going to be bought at the cells.
Okay. Yeah, let's traverse this thing again.
Yes.
So the 7 hours spent by Mahono, Mahal, and Madena,
Yes.
was it actually preoccupied with the investigation?
Sorry, my
Or
lord.
was it preoccupied throughout because they were investigating? Or were they just wasting time, playing cards, drinking alcohol? What were they doing, according to them?
My lord, according to them, all I know from their evidence is that they went to HR.
Yeah.
They waited and spoke to Colonel Geninda. Then Colonel Geninda also became part of whatever investigations that were conducted at the mine complex, going to the hospital section and all of that. But whether that was done for the duration of the whole...
They also went to the hospital, you forgot about it.
That was
They went to the HP.
HR. And
first.
Yes,
They
HR
looked for
first.
whatever.
And then,
They got the documents.
yes,
Then they came out.
yes.
Then they went to HR.
No, they
And,
went to
I mean,
the medical
yeah,
section. the
Medical
hospital
section. You've got to
yes.
drive there, actually. You don't walk, if I remember the evidence.
Yes, but according to AVL, even if it was a drive, it's within the
No,
mine
but
complex.
it means they drove there.
Yes.
We saw the photos.
Yes, my lord.
And after that, because a document or 2 was not at hand, Tininda came and he went again back to HR.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm not disputing that, my lord. The question from the court is that were they in that 7 hours preoccupied with that?
That's it, yeah.
I cannot give light to the court
fine,
on that
okay.
aspect.
Yeah. By the way, just as an afterthought, are police allowed, in terms of the law,
Yes.
not on a whim of their own,
Yes.
in terms of the law, to investigate for 48 hours? 48 hours,
Yes.
depending on the exigency of the case.
Yes.
Are they allowed to do that?
My lord,
Or they come to a stage, I skatsoglala manje.
unfortunately, I did not print it, my lord. Over the weekend, I went through 2 national instructions. It says, and I'll get that for
Yeah.
the court during lunchtime. It says, in between the interrogations, between 48 hours, an accused person per every 24 hours must be given an 8 hours rest. But I'll get that for the court, my lord. Perhaps we'll go through
Yeah,
it
fine.
once I
No, I'm just
understand
asking.
it properly.
That's a matter of common sense. Because
But
the police will tell you that they've dispersed a squad. Actually, it's our Minister of Police who normally wants to say that, who are going to cross night, go around the clock looking for Rata and his gang
Yes.
until they find him.
Yes. And then Mboto will say there were 40 useless police officers that investigated
Yeah,
this matter
fine.
that were
Okay,
fired.
fine. All right.
Now, my lord, I said this aspect of Mohani, that they took accused number 2, as they are in Carltonville, rather than take him to Pretoria North, for him to be locked, secure in the cells, to make sure, my lord, being locked in the cells has got certain benefits to you as an arrested person. You get fed, that's the issue that we have touched on. You can stretch your legs, handcuffs are removed from you, you can lay down. Now he says he was going to be bought. My lord, I'm submitting that
You
borders.
are supposed to be?
He was supposed to be locked in the cells and they can go on their own investigations because he's now in handcuffs from morning, and we will see
Yes,
that
yes.
he has been in handcuffs from around 8 a.m. until 12, not even 12:09, because 12:09 a.m. the 19th, that car leaves
Still there.
that area and goes to Ayrton then to Pretoria, where he's
Yes,
booked
yes.
early hours of the 19th, 2.5 hours or some 2 hours and odd minutes later, he's booked back to say, let's go to Foslora's court. But I'll canvass that towards the end of my submissions. What I'm submitting here is that this idea and notion that he was going to be bought in the cells borders on the ludicrous, my lord. Here is a high-profile target, according to the language used by the police, who, bar for this trip in Carltonville, requires escort from EMPD. He's accused of this heinous crime, yet the police take him without escort on their own frolic to Alberton, and lo and behold, my lord, when they get to Alberton, they forget that AVL will come and say, you were in Alberton at the garage, and something untoward, according to our submissions, accused number 2 was assaulted at that place. That was the purpose. This issue that he was going to be bought, my lord, the standing orders are clear. Accused persons must be, as soon as possible, be returned to the cells to be held there. And we will further expand on that point, but I'll touch it here in case I forget it. They are stuck from around 6 p.m. and the car leaves the engine, Mali Street, whatever streets that were mentioned, Mr. Mgomezulu knows them better, in that area around 9 minutes past 12 a.m. In that period, my lord, there are police stations around Jimiston, Boksburg, Alberton, that they could easily, because of the threat and the target that they are with, have taken accused number 1, temporarily lock him up in whatever police station in the south until the car is repaired, or in the alternative, my lord, now that Jonathan and the other escorts come in, somebody can guard the stricken Toyota Fortuner, and as a matter of urgency, accused number 2 is then taken in one of the escort cars back to safety of the cells in
Yeah,
Victoria
with
North.
hindsight, you are correct. Let me make an example for you. These police, Mojano and Mabena, even maybe Mojolejo, instead of phoning a police station in Nongoma to say, go and check this number, what is that school where accused number 2 is supposed to be residing? It's a school, they use a primary school
Yeah, they use a
address.
primary school, yes.
Go and check whether they know whether Atamokwachen still lives there.
Yes,
they
travel.
drive down.
Yes,
Yeah, these are our police.
yes.
24 hours. We're going to check where Racha lives. And there's Colonel Gomezulu, whom they could have told, hey, you know what, can you go to this area
And verify this address
and
for us.
verify this area? Yeah, so I say with hindsight, you're right. But this is how our police operate sometimes.
As the court pleases, madam. Now,
Are you repeating the argument of Mr. Mgomezulu, because he argued the whole aspect of that. Am I correct, sir, Mr. Mgomezulu? About the garage, the streets.
Okay. My lord will remember that on Friday I stated that we may use language differently, but if
If it's a cup, then it's got a saucer.
my lord, let me be given just a minute just to look through, because I was gonna go to that event of the
Which one is it?
the 18th of June at the garage, but if it has been canvassed by Mr. Mgomezulu,
Mr.
then I'll leave
Mgomezulu
it out.
canvassed it and he
Yes.
requested your permission.
Yes. Now, quickly, my lord, then let me go to the events of the 19th of June pertaining to where now accused number 2
It's in Morocco.
has just been booked in at 2 to 3 in the morning, and at 4:50 a.m. he is then booked out again, and the investigation, according to the OB, says it's for him to be taken to court at Fosloras for the Nongoma case 16310 of 2018. And en route to that, a call is received from Brigadier Geninda to say
yeah.
they must now deviate and take accused number 2 to Colonel Rapadu at Moroka because such arrangements have been made, and indeed, according to them, he's delivered to Colonel Rapadu, handed in by Jonathan. Now, just in passing, I think Mr. Mgomezulu has also traversed this aspect to say there's a denial that he met Rapadu in the morning, so I'm not going to belabor that point, my lord. Also about the GPS unlocked for 10 minutes in the afternoon. But the point that I'm raising with respect to that, my lord, is this. Accused subsequent to the trip to Colonel Rapadu, he's then taken to Foslora's court for purposes of appearing on 2 matters, the Nongoma case, and there's another case number that they said it was for drugs, which is 534 of 6/2020. And when they get to Foslora's hospital, both matters are not placed on the roll. Now, my lord, with respect, I submit then there is no longer a list what connects the police to accused number 2 at that stage, because the 2 primary cases that they had gone to Foslora's for were not placed on the roll, and we know the consequences of matters not placed on the roll is that release right now. And the unlawfulness of that arrest is seen in this context, my lord. Only later do they have something to hold on accused number 2 when they, on some whim or some plan, go to Phokeng, search his residence, and voila, we find ammunition. What a strange coincidence, my lord. What a strange coincidence.
But according to them, they didn't go for that.
Yes, they went for the hoodie.
That's it, yeah. That's what they say.
And what are the
fortuitously,
yes,
they find some other stuff.
And what are the probabilities, my lord, in all likelihood? The offense happens in 2014.
Well, I don't play the lotto.
The probabilities, my lord. We are assessing this matter on the probabilities.
Yeah, but here are policemen. And
yes.
I'm not making a finding that they are truthful.
Yes.
They're saying they are looking for a hoodie. They find other hoodies, but they don't find this specific color of the hoodie they are looking for.
Yes.
And once they are doing that, they find a plastic in triplicate containing ammunition for a rifle.
Yes, and
then they say they ask for an explanation.
Yes.
A license, they didn't find any. They go to the nearest police station, which is Tlhabane.
Yes.
They open a case there.
Yes, understand that. Now, on that aspect, my lord, I'm just saying, what a coincidence for the same set of investigating officers to go without search warrants to accuse number 1 fortuitously, black plastic bag wrapped on a wall somewhere, not hidden, you find ammunition. Accused number 2, by his testimony, sitting in a car, searches for the hoodie of unknown description.
Ramosepele, you know we've got 2 versions.
Yes.
Accused number 2 says he was seated outside, he never entered.
Yes.
And then
but the police say he was there. Yes.
That's it, yeah.
Yes. But what I'm saying on that, my lord...
you can submit that they must reject their version,
yes.
fine, I don't have a problem.
Yes.
But if you telescope it, as if it is the only
It is not the only version, my lord. There are 2 versions on that
Yes,
aspect.
2 versions. And then they say they were given permission. You say they had no warrant, you're right.
Yes.
But they say they asked for permission because that was the reason why they went to Phokeng from Carltonville.
Yes. And the reason that is disputed by accused number 2, that he was just driven there, he doesn't know where they were taking him. This time he was delivered, my lord. Now, the events of the 22nd of June, Mr. Mgomezulu has traversed those pertaining to the appearance, Dr. Tokwe's evidence, so that's been traversed, my lord. Similarly, the issues pertaining to the magistrate have been traversed. I'm not going to burden the record with that, my lord.
Even Dr. Clockw's evidence has been dealt with, if I
Yes,
recall.
yes. Now, my lord, the other aspect that I wanted to touch on, and I've already started on that process, was the we've alleged that the detention of accused number 2 amounted to, besides the allegations of torture and assault, but the torture was perpetrated by sleep deprivation. It was perpetrated by prolonged hours in stiffened handcuffs, and that is shown, my lord, by the entries on the respective or all the OB entries. For example, my lord, we have calculated, and I'm summing it up in broad strokes, my lord, that from the 48 hours that the 18th and the 19th, from the morning of the 18th, booked back the following morning at around 2, and then booked out at 4:50, then booked at Primrose at 4:30. In total, accused 2 was in the hands of police officers in handcuffs, deprived of sleep, deprived of comfort, because he says at some stage water was poured on him. When he went back to the cells, he couldn't sleep because it was very cold on the night in question, and shortly thereafter he's woken up to be taken to Photographic. That, my lord, we submit, it's perpetuation of torture. As I've said, my lord, I'll go and look for the national instruction on the aspect that deals specifically with the breaks that must be afforded to an accused person or a suspect when it pertains to investigations. You cannot, 48 hours, retain somebody for interrogation purposes where he's not fed, where he's not afforded the comforts, creature comforts of life, pertaining to the circumstances. We know that he's arrested, but he's entitled to some basic human rights, man.
Yes.
And the issue of Mujiako has been traversed, that he did not have a mandate.
Yeah, fine.
He was inept. He was a lawyer representing his client. At least the consultation before the proceedings commenced in the magistrate's office to familiarize himself with the matter facing accused number 2, taking advice and also advising. We are advisors. We don't listen to them necessarily, my lord. So he failed in that respect, my lord. And just to conclude that Mujiako aspect, at no stage did we dispute that he's an admitted attorney on the roll. I've never, even myself or Mr. Mgomezulu, raised that aspect that he was never a lawyer. So exhibit YY that was submitted, that does not serve the purpose for which Mujiako's evidence or the evidence pertaining to Mujiako was contested, my lord.
It's contested on which other basis?
My lord, it was contested on the basis that
He wasn't there.
he did not have a mandate.
Remember that.
Yes.
He was never in Ms. Kronje's office. That was the first contestation. Subsequently, there were other versions.
Yes, but the one that we have consulted on, I don't know, my lord, was always that there was a gentleman there. But when accused number 2 asked him, who sent you, he goes pillar to post and he's shifty about that information.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Now, there are other aspects, my lord, that I picked up from the bench questions throughout the evidence of Mr. Baloyi, the submission by the state, the submission by Mr. Mgomezulu, and amongst others, my lord, the question raised this aspect that it will be remiss and negligent for the cell masters, that is the police officers in the cells, to allow Mukhani to willy-nilly come in, enter the register, take the key, Mabena bring accused 1 or 2 in, lock him up and go without the assistance of the cell masters.
Yeah, we had 2 names at least.
Yes, we've
Actually,
got
there are
Mr.
4.
Molefe
Hello,
and
there are 4 names.
Ramaja.
Yeah, there's Ramaja and also the guys in Chabani.
Now, the 2, Ramaja and Molefe, are in Kabane.
That's it, yeah.
Yes.
And then,
now, my lord,
sorry, I think there are others.
I remember those
at
2.
Williams.
At Villeria, I remember
At
those 2.
Villeria, there were others at Villeria. I'll check that, but
Okay.
I remember that evidence.
Okay, my lord. Now, my lord, on that aspect, to show that at times, and we are not saying it's all at all the incidents, there are instances where Mohani particularly engaged in this conduct that the court says it's ridiculous to think that somebody will do that. And I'd like to quote, my lord, the passage of the proceedings of the 2nd of November 2023, the transcript, video transcript of 2/11/2023 at page 43.
Yeah.
And then it starts with Mr. Baloyi asking Mohani, that's Mr. Baloyi leading Sergeant Mohani, and it says, Mr. Baloyi, just a minute before you proceed, you mentioned that you charged him for possession of ammunition. Was he processed at the cells at booking? We know that it's booking. Mr. Mohani, no, we just registered him in the OB, but we did not go into the cells of booking. And Mr. Baloyi, I just want you to show a document, exhibit PP1. Do you recognize that entry? Mr. Mohani, yes, I can see it. And then Mr. Baloyi, can you put the particulars on record? Mr. Mohani, it is written Saturday, 20 June 2020. Mr. Baloyi, yes. Mr. Mohani, there is an entry there that says 713, the time is 0040. It is written there, suspect detained, Detective Sergeant Mohali of National Cold Case Investigation, detained, cell number 294 of 6 of 2020, Longane Sandison Tanzi and CAS 118 of 6 2020, possession of live ammunition, notice of rights as per SAPS 40 number 50947-284, read and explained to the accused, understood and detained without injuries, correctly detained by me, signed Sergeant Mohani. It does not say a cell master participated according to this entry. Mohani wrote in the
But
register.
me and you know
Yes,
that it was a transit
yes,
booking in.
yes.
Yes, because they had to go to, they went to
Primrose.
Yeah, Primrose.
Primrose. But
And they just facilitated the charging of the gentleman
Yes.
there.
Yes.
There was no intention for the gentleman to be booked there and remain there.
Yes.
They had to go to Primrose and thereafter go to his quarters at Villiers. That's how they explain it.
my lord, my understanding of this point is different.
Okay, fine, no problem.
All I'm showing is that whether in transito, that's how they put it, the police, that in transito must still be written by the cell master. Mohani just countersigns. But
Yeah,
it's,
fine, you're right,
it's written
you're
by
right.
him
Yeah,
here,
you're
according
right,
to
yeah,
his
fine.
evidence.
No problem.
The other issue that the court considered was the interpretation by Ms. Motlaping. My lord,
Miss,
Ms. Motlaping, we've never questioned
There are no problems.
the credentials
Yeah,
of
there are
Ms.
no
Motlaping.
problems,
Yes, that came up, my lord. That one. We've covered the issue of the assaults, my lord. My lord, if I may be given a second to have, I think I'm at the end of my submissions to have my.
yeah, fine.
As it pleases the court, my lord. Now, at the end, our submission is that the confession statements and the pointing outs that were allegedly made by accused 1 and 2, they must be ruled inadmissible on the basis that they were not freely and voluntarily made, my lord.
Okay,
As the court pleases.
thank you. Yes, Mr. Mnisi?
I think the court will know that for the better part of the oral submissions, I have not been part of the proceedings.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I thought you were a sangoma. I was a sangoma, but we are born this. It's a joke, you know.
Yes, my lord, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
I could not even been able to follow the submissions on all the social medias.
But you,
Now,
you,
to
you
avoid-
read, you read this, the heads, of course. Did you
Yes,
read
I
the
went
heads?
through the heads, that is
Yeah.
so, my lord,
Yeah.
yes.
What is on the heads is what they said.
As it is the court, my lord. What I'm basically saying, in order to avoid prolixity,
Yes, yes. I hear you.
may say that I am satisfied with what has been captured in the heads of my colleague and as well as their oral argument.
Okay.
I would therefore
Okay.
have nothing to add, my lord. But except one thing, my lord,
What is that?
and this is something that is coming to me when I'm standing here, my lord. My lord, the fact that in the grounds for the objection of the admissibility of the confessions, certain grounds are not specifically mentioned.
Yeah, we know that. Me and you know that.
That does not.
You can come in with a million grounds.
Yes, my lord.
No problem.
But the fact that certain grounds are not specifically mentioned at the outset of the
You
commencement
can argue that also.
of the trial within a trial,
Yeah.
that is not a bar to the court to infuse whatever that the court will deem an irregularity
Yes,
on how the statements were obtained.
that's correct.
For to do so, my lord, would be an indication that the court is adopting a piecemeal approach to the evaluation of the evidence.
No, I'm
And
aware of it.
unfortunately, the Supreme
Simplicity,
Court
I'm
as
aware
well
of
as
that.
the Constitutional Court and so many authorities, my lord, it's well aware
Yeah.
on how evidence should be approached by a court listening to the facts of the
Yes.
case. Except that I've got nothing further, my lord.
Okay.
Thank you, my lord.
Masengumalo.
Thank you, my lord. On behalf of accused number 4, I have no address. Thank you.
Ms. Mtololo.
My lord, I think on the heads that I have submitted, my lord, I stand
You stand by your heads.
Stand by my heads, yes.
No problem.
Thank you.